to speak in this great conference today. So my name is Dr. Daniel Moreno Martinez. I'm the head of the innovation program at Hospital Germans Trias i Pujol, and today I will be talking to you about building the healthcare system of the future, but doing so today. Thank you very much again for the opportunity to share with you some of the amazing work that we've been trying to put together over the last couple of years. I'll be telling you the story of our hospital and how we are trying to build a healthcare system of the future today, and we're trying to do so by implementing a flagship innovation program that's quite differentiated out with regards to what's already out there. So this is a bit the outline of the presentation. I'll try to run through things today. So I'm going to start with a small overview about myself, about our institution as well. Then I'll jump and tell you why do we need an innovation program inside a large hospital. Then I'll try and discuss with you some of the key elements in our innovation strategy, such as training and education, co-creation development, brand positioning, entrepreneurship, and permeabilizing that innovation inside the hospital. I'm going to finalize my presentation by explaining to you why is this important from the strategic perspective. And obviously, I'm going to acknowledge everyone in the team that's been part of this work. So just to start a bit about myself. So I've got experience in a number of fields, most importantly in the management of innovation ecosystems. I've been leading the creation of this flagship innovation program at our hospital for over 2.5 years. I'm a co-founder of Global Innovation Forum, which you might have heard of. I'm also a co-founder of the Imagine If Pre-Accelerator for Science Ventures. I've had the pleasure to accelerate and mentor over 600 life sciences and healthcare startups to date. I'm also an evaluator and reviewer in numerous competitive funding programs. I've also got quite an interesting international experience with more than 8 years working in Manchester in the UK. I'm currently also a non-exec director in Innovation Forum and other companies located elsewhere in Europe, Latin America, or even Asian Pacific. I'm a mentor in numerous acceleration programs. But with regards to my scientific and life sciences background, I hold a PhD in molecular biology from Manchester Met University. I've been a postdoctoral researcher in endothelial dysfunction for quite a while, and I'm still a registered lecturer in the UK. So that's about myself. I'm going to tell you a bit about our institution, which is Institut Català de la Salut, the Catalan Health Institute. So the Catalan Health Institute is the largest public healthcare provider in Catalonia. In fact, it's the largest public company in Spain. So we've got over 45,000 employees. Just to give you some numbers, we also manage, on top of high technology hospitals, we manage also primary care centers. In the UK, you know this as GP surgeries. So we manage over 300 GP surgeries. Like I said, 8 high technology hospitals, among them the hospital I have the honor to represent. And just to give you a couple of figures, we do over 38 million primary care visits per year and more than 120,000 major surgeries as well per year to our population. So our hospital is one of those 8 high technology hospitals. It's located in northern Barcelona. We cover an area of more than 1 million people. We are normally between 3,500 and 4,000 employees, depending on the time of the year. We perform over 16,000 major surgeries a year and attend to over 130,000 accidents and emergencies as well per year. So as you can tell, it's quite a large healthcare facility. So just to give you a bit of background, further background of where we are located, that's a map of Catalonia. As you might know, Catalonia is located in the northeast of Spain. So we are in this orange region that you can see in the map. So that's the north area of Barcelona, and the orange region, it's the region where we manage directly primary care centers and where we provide complex care to the population. But our hospital is not a hospital by itself. It's part of a research campus, which we know as Campus Canduti. That's where the hospital is located, in the campus. But we've got a large number of research facilities and other sort of, scientific resources available to further science and medicine in the campus. And more importantly, I'd like to mention IGTP, Institut Germans Trias i Pujol, whom we work very close with in order to drive innovation and knowledge transfer from our hospital into the market. So let me start from the beginning. Why is it important to innovate? And I always try and do this with an analogy. So imagine that our hospital is a fortress that's just sitting on top of a cliff, looking at the high seas. And there are some boats. Those boats, you can imagine them as innovators. Those are the people that go away, sailing into the high seas, looking for what's going on out there, and bring back to the fortress whatever it is that they found in the high seas, to share it with us, to share it with the people that's staying behind in the fortress. So we can acknowledge, or we can think of the fortress like maybe research centers, hospitals, large companies, places where there's a lot of things going on, places with a high degree of complexity, And I think, institutions like hospitals, companies, research centers, they need people that go out there and search for the gold and bring it back to the fortress. But they also need people that stay behind, and take care of the fortress, of the main business of the fortress, to ensure that whenever this gets attacked, it doesn't burn down. So what I'm trying to say with this is that maybe not everyone inside a hospital or inside a research institution needs to engage in the innovation process, but we need to be able to offer tools to those people that want to go out there and search for the gold and bring it back to our fortress. So that's why innovating is important. It's about planting the seed so that things can happen and take place. So going back to the question, why an innovation program in a Catalan hospital? Well, first, we want to redefine the model. We want to contribute to the Barcelona ecosystem. We want to go from being a technology user to develop solutions. We want to actively participate in the transformation that healthcare systems are undergoing. Of course, we want to advance to the future. There is a saying in Spanish that is, he who strikes first strikes twice. What I want to say with this is that being one of the first hospitals embracing a new culture when it comes to innovation transformation would bring value in the long run. We want also to become adaptable and prepared against potential disruptors, and this is important. Every major industry has had great disruptions recently, transport, logistics, the food industry, but we haven't seen such disruption in healthcare yet. However, it would be naive to think that that's not going to happen. So we need to prepare for that. And more importantly, last but not least, we need to be able to harvest the in-house knowledge. By this, I mean, healthcare systems and hospitals, they bring together loads of intelligent and high-educated minds. It would not be smart not to use that knowledge to as much as we can. So we want to offer professionals an opportunity to develop their ideas and grow, not just by treating patients, but by contributing to medicine. And, before jumping into what it is that we really are doing in our innovation program, I wanted to share this quote with you, which you might have seen before, because I think it quite demonstrates why we need an innovation program like the one I'm presenting to you today in our hospitals. And the quote says, "Artificial intelligence will not replace physicians. However, physicians who use artificial intelligence will replace those who don't." The quote is by Bertalan from the Medical Futurist, and I think it exemplifies really well, how adaptable we need to become, and that we need to go from just being an observer to being an active player in this. So our vision is to provide better healthcare for all, patients and staff alike. We want to contribute to the resilience and capabilities of the Catalan scientific and healthcare system by pioneering a transformative healthcare innovation program. So whatever it is that I'm presenting to you today, it's the result of trial and error. For 2.5 years, we've been implementing different strategies, different activities, different programs in order to identify which ones receive the higher attendance and result in more meaningful outcomes. Again, going back to the beginning, this is the first time that we are trying to establish an innovation program of this sort inside a Catalan hospital. So we don't know really what to expect. We didn't know really how to implement it. There are no guidelines for this. We are not a technology transfer office. So, we are disrupting the model really. And so this requires a level of design testing, getting feedback, and revising what it is that we are doing. So what I'm presenting to you today is the result of that design testing and revisiting what it is that we are doing. So I'm just going to share with you some of the tools that have worked and some of the success stories. So we can divide whatever it is that our innovation program has focused on for the last few years on 5 pillars. So I'm going to go ahead and discuss with you some of these actions. So the first one is training and education. Of course, it's about offering training opportunities outside the medical and scientific specialties of our professionals. We offer things like 3D printing, artificial intelligence, innovation methodologies, intellectual property, creativity management, and regulation training opportunities. Last year alone, we offered over 25 of these. And, you know, participation and attendance is particularly good. When we do in-person sessions, we get between 50 and 80 participants. I mean, this is particularly cool when you think of people attending to this outside their working regime, outside their working hours. This just goes to show people is interested in attending this kind of training opportunities. Just to give you a couple of examples of sessions we've organized. We organized last year this one. Apologies because it's the poster is in Spanish, but it says Artificial Intelligence in Health, where we are and where we are going. This is a session we organized with Microsoft, with IBM, a number of other key stakeholders. It was pretty interesting, and it helped our people, you know, to jump into the topic and start understanding it better and engaging with it in a different manner. We did the same with virtual and augmented reality. We did the same with COVID. We've been doing that for a while. And most recently, we've launched an innovation training program that's taking place online. It just consists of several sessions, pills really of 45 minutes. But this seems to be enough to engage people into this sort of culture. And in fact, what this seems to be achieving is people requesting more, people asking for more, you know, and that's basically the objective of this education and training offerings. Is not really to transform them into innovation leaders, but really to make them hungry for more. And, you know, I'm not going to go into detail with this, but on top of these training opportunities, I wanted to mention, because I think it's relevant, we also are organizing international bootcamps. And in fact, we are trying to organize one with Leeds Teaching Hospital in the UK for later this year. Co-creation and development. This is particularly interesting, and it's a big part of the innovation program, and it's about building collaborations between the hospital, other institutions, large companies, and startups. So we do this first by tech scouting the horizon in Barcelona and elsewhere in Europe in order to identify already identified unmet clinical needs. And we also do this by trying and generate more projects, driving group dynamics in collaboration with other organizations and technology clusters in order to identify unmet clinical needs and develop joint solutions. So just to share with you a couple of success stories on this regard, we organized a partnership with SECFO, which is the deep tech cluster here in Spain, to identify unmet clinical needs to be solved using photonics. Out of that, we managed to secure 6 projects and collaboration agreements, which is quite a success. We also regularly organize blue sky thinking sessions between startups and clinicians to identify new projects and to build collaborations with those startups so that we can validate their technology in our settings. And we've also done some work to try and identify clinicians interested in using, you know, technologies such as 3D printing, artificial intelligence, or virtual reality and augmented reality technologies, so that, you know, we can help them find collaborators and build projects together. Just to share with you a few success co-development stories. I'm not going to go into detail with each of these, but there's one of them I'd like to particularly mention, which I think is quite cool, which is the Oxygen project, which resulted in the first working medical emergency mechanical ventilator developed in just a fortnight during the COVID-19 crisis back in April. And we did this in partnership with SEAT, the car manufacturer, and other companies. And this is something that I wanted to explain, because really, I mean, when you look, for example, at what happened in the UK, you know, the British government, you know, throwing money at Dyson for them to build something like this and failing. Well, we had no money, and we built this just out of good intentions, and we tested it in animals. in just 15 days, with car pieces. I think it's quite an amazing story. And this device, even though we were lucky enough, we didn't need to use it in the end in Spain, we know by fact this is being used elsewhere in the world, for example, in Latin America and Africa. So, we're quite proud of this achievement, and I feel it's something, that's the result of the work that we've been, this culture change that we are trying to drive. Just to show you a couple more successes, for instance, in telemedicine and monitoring, which are quite hot topics at these days. We are implementing a pioneering teleaudiometry system in the territory that decentralizes the audiometry procedures. We will be the first hospital in the Catalan region doing this. We're also implementing and developing, in collaboration with a startup, a biometric monitoring device that will help us control COPD and COVID-19 patients from their homes. And we've also implemented a system called Revita, which basically it's a customizable telemonitoring system for patients admitted in hospital at home units. This is quite cool. This basically is a briefcase that the clinician can customize. The brief, just to give you a flavor of what it entails. This briefcase contains an iPad, and it can contain an oximeter, it can contain a thermometer, whatever it is that you as a clinician want to put in the briefcase. And so you give this briefcase to the patient goes home, and the iPad every so often will beep, 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 and will instruct the patient as to what the patient has to do. So now use the thermometer to take your temperature. The patient takes the temperature. Now use the oximeter to take your saturation, takes the saturation. So the iPad collects all this information and sends it directly to the hospital without the patient having to do anything or without any sort of connectable, and it works really well. Another couple of success stories, in this case in virtual augmented reality. We are running a project to try and reduce COVID-19 related stress in healthcare professionals. We are also running a project called Nixie for Children, aiming at reducing pre-surgery anxiety using this sort of technologies in kids. And we also are using Microsoft HoloLens to teach surgery, which is quite cool, and it's quite disruptive, and we are proud to be one of the first hospitals in Spain implementing this technology for our teaching activities. Brand positioning. This is also particularly important. This is about engaging with everything that's out there. Being present in the ecosystem, offer our help, participate in forums, in think tanks, everywhere that we can. It's about supporting the largest and most influential innovation communities, not just in Catalonia, but also in Spain and elsewhere in Europe. We want to become acknowledged key opinion leaders in healthcare innovation. We want to participate in conferences, meetings, roundtables, events, representing not just the hospital, but also the Catalan health system. We want to publish papers and conduct research in the topic of healthcare innovation technologies. Just a couple of success stories. Again, we are quite proud to have made the first page a couple of years ago in what is one of the main newspapers here in the country, La Vanguardia. And because, our innovation strategy was kind of was bringing attention to a number of media outlets. So we were quite lucky to make this front page. We participate in think tanks for doing a number of researchers. Like I said, we participate in the write-up of white papers. For instance, this one, Transforming Healthcare with AI. This is a paper that was developed by EIT Health in collaboration with McKinsey Company to try and describe how hospitals should engage with artificial intelligence. And we were the only Catalan hospital to provide input into this document, And most recently, we are collaborating with the Mobile World Congress in, organizing a number of activities in the Mobile Week, which takes place just before the Mobile World Congress and just after the Mobile World Congress. But I won't go into detail with this. I'm conscious of time. Entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a big thing, It's about planting the seed so things can happen. I'm sure you're all familiar with the innovation funnel. This is this is the path that innovations undergo all the way from idea development to commercial launching. So up until we established the innovation program in our hospital, it was our technology transfer office that had to focus on the whole procedure, all the way from the beginning to the end. But what we are doing now, and the way we are organized, is that we are focusing in the innovation program in this first space, in developing those ideas, capturing those ideas, tractioning those ideas, at least from the beginning, so that we can then transfer them to our technology transfer office so that they can build a solid business case, develop that idea, proof test it, validate it, and finally commercialize it. So we found that intervening in this in the value chain of this innovation funnel in this way really yields better results in the end. So just to give you an example of how we've done this, we had all the elements in the beginning to already do this. So we've tried to put them together through a program that we've called HEAP, Healthcare Entrepreneur Exchange Program, and I'll share with you a bit more about this program in the next slide. But this program basically what has done, it has organized everything, all the elements that we had, both in the hospital and in our technology transfer unit. It has organized all the elements in a way, in a structured way, so that we can accompany all those projects, entrepreneurship projects that were being born in the hospital. So we packeted this into a program that we've called Healthcare Entrepreneur Exchange Program, HEAP, HEAP for short. And this is a program that we've organized in collaboration with Leeds teaching hospitals. Now, I've got a video in the next slide, which hopefully will work. Okay. So like I said, this is a program that we organized in collaboration with Leeds Teaching Hospital in the UK. So everything that we did here in Barcelona, in our hospital, the guys did in Leeds and also in Salford Royal, up in Manchester. So the program, it's basically an international idea competition for clinicians and healthcare professionals overall. So this is just a bit of the roadmap that the projects followed. So we received projects until the end of October. We selected the best of them, and those projects, they participated in a number of group training and mentoring sessions and support opportunities to try and help them, develop their business case and grow their projects from technology readiness level 0 to technology readiness level 3 or 4. And the program finalized with a demo day in which the healthcare professionals pitched their projects to a panel of judges. So just to give you a few numbers, we identified 12 projects in our hospitals. 6 of them were accelerated through the program in those 6 months that the program lasted. And out of these six projects, we're going to have 3 potential spin-offs in construction, which I think, is quite a success. So just to give you a bit of a flavor of what those projects entailed, 2 of them were related to software artificial intelligence solutions, where medical was related to green economy. So, like I said, quite a success, because with the 6 projects, we've got 6 potential patents or utility models. We've got 6 prototypes or functional minimum viable products. We've got 6 collaboration agreements, and we've already submitted the projects, some of them, to some competitive funding opportunities. We're going to repeat the program this year. We're going to rebrand it, and we're going to rename it. We're going to call it Canduti Nova. Just to give you a bit of an overview of what Canduti Nova will entail, it will be very much like HEAP. We're going to have a first phase that's going to be that's going to last 4 months, where we will try and pre-accelerate the projects up until the demo day, where there will be 3 winners, and those 3 winners will give them money. We'll give them out up to 10,000 euros to try and accelerate their idea over the next 8 months, so they can build a proof of concept. They can deposit their intellectual property where needed. They can build a business case, a business plan, and we will finalize the program with an investors day. So Nova to identify projects at technology readiness level 0 and drive them all the way to TRL 4, 5 in just 12 months. I mean, this is quite ambitious, but it's doable, because that's exactly what we've observed with the HEAP program. So we're definitely going to repeat this experience. Right, and finally, permeabilization. So this is about understanding where we are. We regularly audit the engagement of the different departments in the hospital with the innovation program. So just to give you a bit of a flavor, this is a radiography of our innovation program in the hospital. So we've got over 300 healthcare professionals engaging with the innovation program and the activities and the projects that we organize. What we've seen since the beginning of the innovation program 2.5 years ago, it's a 500% increase in the number of staff interested in participating in innovation projects. This is quite an achievement, and it just goes and demonstrates that we need this sort of projects and programs inside our hospitals. And I'm also proud to say that 4 out of 5 departments in the hospital are somehow engaging with the innovation strategy. Now, this is again, you know, work in progress, but it just goes and demonstrates how much people are requesting this sort of support. So out of the people that engage with the program, 72% of them are physicians. We are working on increasing this number when it comes to nursing teams and non-clinician profiles. They are harder to get to, but they are professionals, both nurses and non-clinicians, that can offer a lot and that can add a lot. I mean, there's this concept of entrepreneursing, you know, and we don't want to miss this opportunity. We just need to work further with this group of professionals to try and increase their presence in the innovation activities we organize. However, I'm really proud to say that we found a very good gender balance when it comes to the presence of men and women in the different activities we organize, which is, you know, quite remarkable and quite good. Right, so how does all of this fit into the overall strategy? So, and I think, you know, the simple way to say this is that the timing is right. If we look at what's happening out there, you know, we've got the Plan Strategic de Recerca in Innovació en Salut. This is the strategic plan on research and innovation in health. And that is out of the 6 strategic axes that the program has, one of them is looking at the promotion of an innovation ecosystem in healthcare in Catalonia. And this is a strategic document that the government will use for the next years to guide its strategy. And one out of the 6 main axes is looking at the promotion of an innovation ecosystem in healthcare. So, you know, the timing is right, just looking into that. But if we look at what's happening elsewhere, you know, we've got the recovery and resilience funds resulting from the COVID-19 crisis and this sort of Marshall Plan that the European Union is deploying for the next couple of years. We've got the recovery and resilience funds that are going to Spain, the ones that are going straight to Catalonia, the ones that are going to be deployed straight by the European Union. So there is all these funds that are aiming at empowering innovation in healthcare. So, you know, we need to be ready to access those funds. There's also the European Innovation Council. You might have heard of. This is a newly created instrument to support the introduction of innovative products in the European Union. So we need to be able to engage with the European Innovation Council. And we also got a reinforced Horizon Europe. You know, which brings together other initiatives funded by Next Generation EU. So overall, we've got these 4 elements that tell us that it's right to think of healthcare innovation at this point, and it's right to think of healthcare innovation from the inside of hospitals themselves and not to leave this just to the outside community. Right, so just to finish, I want to say that even though I'm the mastermind behind most of the work that I've presented to you today, I have to thank Dr. Uriol Estrada, who is the Director of Innovation Strategic Alliances in our territory, for enabling me the opportunity to build this program and to focus it this way. He trusted me from the beginning to do so. And so I want to thank him for the opportunity. I also want to thank my colleague, Dr. David Priego, who's the head of projects in our hospital, for, transforming all the ideas that I was bringing to him into clinical realities and clinical outcomes. But of course, also the rest of the team, all the way from Mary Che, Francesc, Pau, and Marisabel, to everyone else in the hospital, really. And that's it for my presentation. Thank you very much for listening until this point. Really happy to talk to you and to collaborate with you in any way possible. So thank you very much again for your time, and happy to take any questions you might have.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time and for listening to the end of my presentation. There are a couple of questions I'll be happy to answer. The first one is, how has COVID-19 changed or had an effect on the approach to innovation in the healthcare system? For example, has it accelerated innovative processes? This is a great question. I don't know who's making it, but this is a fantastic question, and we could spend lots of time debating this. The truth is that from my perspective, COVID-19, it has helped a lot to accelerate innovation, not just adoption, but also development. And it has in fact changed or demonstrated that hospitals should not just sit back and wait for things to happen, but that they should actually engage in the process of making things happen. COVID-19 has demonstrated this, and it has just brought to the attention of everyone that collaboration is key, and that the knowledge that's already available in hospitals should be harvested and used outside. COVID, it was a medical emergency that, for instance, in our case, led to the creation of the oxygen respirator. But I haven't mentioned other examples. So we also developed, for instance, an aerosol protective box, and this is something that the clinicians themselves, they realized that this was something that this was an unmet clinical need. They reached out to companies to try and build this together with them. So this is just the result of implementing this transformative culture. COVID-19 has accelerated the adoption, obviously, of telemedicine solutions, and it has, I think, something has clicked in everyone's mind with regards to innovation and telemedicine in particular. We are slightly afraid of things reversing, to be honest with you, and I don't want to bring the moods down, but there is a risk, of things going back to what they were at the beginning before COVID with regards to innovation and, and the attitudes toward innovation and new technologies. But it's true that, governments and everyone's doing an effort to try and prevent this. We are trying to make an effort to seize the moment. For instance, the implementation of telemedicine solutions here in Catalonia, and in particular in our hospital, is quite advanced. Same as is, for instance, the implementation of biometric monitoring. And so COVID has accelerated the implementation of this, and we are making an effort for this not to be reverted. We're also making an effort to educate the population on what this entails, and that this actually represents an opportunity to provide them a better care. There is reluctancy from the population, of course, but it's a matter of education, and it's a matter of explaining what it is that we are trying to achieve. So in conclusion, I think that yes, COVID has accelerated innovative processes quite a lot, in some places more than others, but in general, it has just shown that humanity can achieve things in very quickly if you put your mind to it. We've seen that with vaccines, and we've seen that with treatments in hospitals, in ICUs, and in many other places. Uh, so let's hope that that trend remains with us for a while. Uh, there is another question that's actually very much linked to this. How has COVID-19 had an effect on innovation in healthcare? Well, it's the same I just described. If you look, for instance, I don't know if other speakers explained this before me, but if not, some others might do it later. Maybe Jordi Piera mentioned this, but we can definitely see uh, how COVID-19 has affected telemedicine in Catalonia. There are actually a couple of publications on the impact that COVID-19 has had on telephonic and video consultations in Catalonia. They are great publications, very, very well built, and they just clearly show that there's been a change in trend, that people has come to accept this. There's also an element of digitalizing not just consultations, but also how patients engage with hospitals, with their clinical data, etc. So it seems quite positive in this sense. I don't know if there are any more questions, Puria. I don't see any more questions from the audience. So if there are no more questions, I'd like to thank again the organizing team for giving me the opportunity to share with you guys some of the amazing work that we've been trying to do, and to thank once again our team in the hospital, in particular Dr. Uriol Estrada, for being the mastermind behind all of this and for having the vision a few years ago that this is what innovation should look like in hospitals. And thank you very much again for the opportunity to speak, and please feel free to contact me if you have any further questions.